Hi there, my name is Tyler Cowdrey, and today I'll be presenting a poster on my project, Mapping Bull Kelp Forests of Puget Sound with consumer-level UAV imaging platforms. This project is part of my ongoing master's thesis work at the Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington, and was conducted in collaboration with my colleagues at the Washington State Department of Natural Resources, who are listed here as co-authors. Bull kelp, or Nereocystis lutkiana, is considered a foundational species in Puget Sound and creates biogenic habitat for a variety of invertebrates, fish, and marine mammals. Recent research conducted by my colleagues at Washington DNR has shown significant declines at a number of bull kelp beds in South and Central Puget Sound as compared to their historic distribution. Because of this, there is a growing concern that the impacts of climate change could lead to a total collapse of their populations in the future. Since 1989, Washington DNR has conducted annual plane-based aerial surveys of both bull kelp and giant kelp forests, though these efforts have focused primarily on the outer coast and Strait of Juan de Fuca, leaving many gaps in the data on the current distribution of bull kelp within Puget Sound. To address these data gaps, UAVs or drones offer a potential method of data acquisition to complement existing methodologies. Consumer models are relatively inexpensive, require modest training to operate, can be deployed quickly from land or a boat, and offer a balance of moderate aerial coverage with extremely high spatial resolution. In developing this project, there were a number of research questions we hoped to address, including whether a consumer model could reliably generate geospatially accurate maps, especially when compared to more expensive models and imaging sensors, the impact of various environmental conditions, primarily tidal height, and finally, how UAV survey results compared to existing boat-based survey methodologies. In order to answer these research questions, we designed a pilot project which was conducted this past summer. Between late July and late September, a series of 18 aerial surveys were flown at 8 different bull kelp beds around Puget Sound. Surveys were conducted primarily with the DJI Mavic 2 Pro, but on 2 occasions we also flew a Matrice 200 carrying a Parrot Sequoia multispectral camera. While the use of UAVs for mapping marine vegetation is still a relatively nascent field, target conditions used in other existing methodologies are well established and provided a template. Environmental factors such as sun angle, wind speed, and cloud cover are all known to have an impact on aerial imagery, and I've included the targets we used in this project here. As a final consideration, 8 of the 18 surveys were conducted concurrently with kayak-based surveys performed by Washington DNR Nearshore Habitat Program staff and volunteers with the Northwest Straits Commission. All but 2 of the sites were surveyed with both methods concurrently, and all sites were surveyed by boat within the same tide series. Since the surveys were completed in late September, considerable time has been dedicated to learning to effectively use the photogrammetric software Agisoft Metashape. Esri's drone-to-map software has also been briefly trialed as a potential alternate, though appears to have poor results over water. The average project consists of roughly 400 4K images, so processing times can extend from hours to sometimes days. One challenge to performing UAV photogrammetry over open water that has been previously documented in literature is the lack of easily identifiable tie points. This can lead to inaccurate photo alignment and sometimes large gaps in generated outputs. Despite these challenges, initial orthomosaic outputs appear promising. Even far from shore, the presence of large, diverse kelp patches provide enough discernible features to lead to successful stitching. Some evidence of the distortions in the mesh surface can still be found, particularly near the edges of the survey area, but our hope is that with additional refinement of the image processing procedure, these areas can be greatly improved as well. As we move forward, there are a number of next steps we'll be tackling in the coming weeks. These include further refinement of the photogrammetry workflow, processing the bulk of the remaining surveys, and bringing the generated orthomosaics into ENVI and/or ArcGIS Pro for the image classification phase of the project. Final results are expected to be ready by next spring. And with that, I want to thank you for coming to my presentation. Special thanks to my co-authors on this, Helen Berry, Max Calloway, and Andrew Ryan. Also very special thanks to my advisors at the Evergreen State College, Aaron Martin and Mike Ruth. And finally, also thank you to the staff and volunteers at the Northwest Straits Commission, who also were very helpful in developing this project. Thank you again.